250. Please remember to download both the Barnburner and ZingoTV apps from respective iOS and Android app stores, as both apps are absolutely free. And while you download, please make sure to rate and leave a comment, as we want to hear from you folks. We really, really do. And also, ZingoTV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV Sticks. Roku Sticks is also available on all smart TVs from 2016 forward. So welcome to the show, folks. I'm your host, Noel Club, here on the Knockout Show. Another amazing boxing panel. Canada's best of the best, I gotta say, as always. So we're still waiting for one person I see here. Joe is always late, apparently.
Oh, that
Especially
Joe
on my show. So moving on here. And oh yes, he is here as well. So first off, he represented Canada as a featherweight and later on as a lightweight boxer in 3 consecutive Olympic Games. He fought first of all in Barcelona 92, Atlanta 96, and Sydney Games in 2000. Please welcome the one, the only, Mr. Mike Strange. Woohoo! Here he is.
Still in San Francisco.
Hello, sir. How's San Francisco doing these days?
It's good.
By the way,
It's good. Yeah, it hasn't changed much since the last time. A little foggy, but you can see the bridge a bit.
Looks like you have a great penthouse view from your perspective.
Oh, really nice view. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, moving on, he is a 10-time Canadian light flyweight boxing champion, and of course, he was in the 2-time Olympian as well. He's also the owner of Hollywood Fulani Sportswear. Please welcome the one and the only Dominic Fulani. Hello,
guys. Hey, Dom.
Good to see you, man.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Always a pleasure to have you guys on the show. Always a pleasure. Great privilege for me as well. And next on this big panel, he won the gold medal as a light flyweight in the 1986 Commonwealth Games and reached the quarterfinals in the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul, Korea. Please welcome the one and the only Scotty Bulldog Olsen. Yeah. There he is.
Woo-hoo.
Live in person.
Awesome.
I love introducing you guys. It's a lot of fun for me too, I gotta say. And next, he's a very talented professional lightweight boxer with a fight record of 10 bouts and 10 KOs, folks. Please welcome Mr. Lucas Prince Bade. Welcome, sir.
Hey guys, how you doing?
How you doing, man?
Fantastic.
Welcome to the show. First time on the show here. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. Great pleasure for us. And moving on, this big boxing panel. He's a former CPBC Canadian heavyweight champion. He has a total of 19 bouts and 8 KOs. He's also an actor, by the way. You can see him in Resident Evil, Afterlife, Retribution, and also The Phantom Punch. Please welcome the one, the only, Raymond Big Ray Obuluel. Welcome, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. And finally, we also have my co-host from my other show, Club Tracks. Well, I'll formally introduce him to you folks. He's a lead singer guitarist of New York City's hard rockin' band, The Handful. And I was also excited to co-host of my show, Club Tracks, which is also on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Shameless plug there for you. And here he is, the one, the only, Mr. Mark Cool Dude Duda.
What's happening, guys? Thanks so much for having me on here.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, actually, he was a co-host of my show for a while now, and he's a big fan of Scotty Olsen. He's a big boxing fan as well. So
right, yeah.
Gotta get him on the show. I gotta get him on the show.
Right on.
So
yeah,
here he is.
I'm thrilled to do it. Crazy.
And he's the Scotty Bulldog fan club member too, by the way.
Hey, listen. Founding member, man.
Founding member. Corrected there.
You got to understand. I mean, I was in college from 89 to 93. You know, for 3 of those years, I lived in a fraternity house. And, you know, Monday night football and then Tuesday night fights and, you know, with Sean O'Grady. And listen, Scotty was, you know, he was a big deal. That's where we got to see him fight. You know, that was it had a major U.S. audience. I don't know if you guys get USA up north or if that was on another channel, but you know, we would sit down every Tuesday night, all the guys, you know, in the fraternity. And then later on when I was with my bandmates, and we would watch Tuesday night fights, you know, and, you know, we only had to see Scotty on it once to all be fans, you know, and be like, oh, who's fighting this Tuesday? Oh, Scotty Bulldog's fight. All right, cool. You know, we got it's must watch TV, you know.
Right on, right on.
So this is, and I've been a big boxing fan all my life. So yeah, it's a thrill, man. Killer.
Thank you. Thanks for the compliment, Mark. How's that
Yeah.
autograph swap going, boys?
Yeah, exactly. How's that going so far, boys? The autograph swap. That's a good point.
I
Dominic.
sent Scotty a package, and we'll see. I don't know if you got it yet, or maybe it's in customs. Okay.
Yeah, not yet. No, I didn't get anything yet, but I check my mailbox every day.
I sent the package, and for people that don't know, as soon as I saw Noel's post about the boxing show and I saw Scotty was on, like I couldn't believe it. I reached out to him. I'm like, I think I'm going to ask this. I think I'm going to ask him, if I trade him a couple of autographs for, and I don't collect boxing cards, but I happen to have a few, and Scotty was one of the ones I had, and I just thought it was so cool if I could send it to him and have him sign it for me. That's a neat thing,
Totally is.
They say never meet your heroes, but I haven't been let down yet. So
yeah, no kidding. I think
even
like myself and Mark, like we met a lot of kind of some cool people along the way too on the two shows, and it's been a pretty cool like last 5 months for myself too, meeting some of my heroes and having you guys on the show as well. It's been really amazing.
Yeah,
amazing time.
Truly it's awesome. And that card I sent Scotty is the 91, so he's 15-0 with 12 knockouts on the back. And I think your next fight, you had to fight a Filipino guy who had about 50 pro fights. Yeah. And you took a split decision in that fight, but you won it. That was a tough one, huh?
Yeah, that was really, really tough.
That was your first kind of real test, right? Because you were mowing everybody down.
Well, yeah, the fight before that was Ramon Solis from Mexico. He was a really tough fight. I won 9 out of the 10 rounds, but the one round that I lost, he almost knocked me out. But I won that one, and then they threw me in with the Filipino kid Dio Andujar, who was So yeah, that was a wake up call there. It's like, holy cow! I touched gloves with him in the center of the ring, and right then I knew it was going to be a long day at the office.
What about him made you think that? Just like his presence, his attitude, Well,
the fact that usually you touch gloves, and I touched gloves with him and I pushed it a little bit, and he didn't move. Like,
oh no, I'm in trouble.
It was like a Rocky movie, huh?
Yeah, that's what it was like. Yeah, it was, oh God. And he had beaten like a former world champion before, about 3 weight classes above me. So
wow.
Yeah, that's intimidating.
A lot of experience.
I knew he had about 50 fights. It was your 16th fight, but it was cool. I thought of that when I was looking at the back of the card before I sent it to him. So he's 15-0. I think that's about the time you really got tested. But it's got to be cool. I mean, we're talking about it 30 years later with a guy from New York, and it's pretty cool that your fighting has that kind of staying power, man. You were an entertaining fighter for sure.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
Still is on this show. The matchmaker too on this show, apparently.
All right on. Well, thanks for that. No, I appreciate it.
No problem at all. No problem at all. I actually got 2 more people to introduce, apparently. Here's 2 here very quickly. Steve, the Dragon Claggett's joining us here right now. How are you doing, Steve?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me. I'm doing
fresh
well.
off
How
your
you
fight
guys
this recently as well, eh?
Yes, sir. I'm feeling good. Coming off of a good performance, a good win, and I'm. It's a quiet time in the world, but I'm just sticking to the gym, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah, right on. It's a great performance too, by the way. I was watching your fight there. It was a great performance. Looked great.
Thanks. I mean, I knew that I had the experience on this guy, and that he's kind of the underdog in the tournament that I'm in, and I know he's going to come out. He's gunning for me. He's going to come out with lots of energy. He really wants it, and he's hungry. So I was anticipating that early, and then that's how he fought. So that's what we got ready for, and that's what happened.
Yeah, they're right on. And I do as usual, one more person here. He's a longtime iconic Canadian sports anchor, sports commentator. He's also a former boxer as well, and plus his brand new show apparently too. Please welcome the one and the only Mr. Joe Tilley.
Well,
Woo-hoo,
great to
Joe.
be here. Thanks, Noel. Good to see you guys again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to
Right
see
on.
you, Mark.
Nice to see you as
Yeah.
well. This is cool.
So, Joe, tell me about your new show, man.
Okay, it's called Joe Tilley Sports, and this is we have the third show coming up this week. Last week we had Wendell on the show, Wendell Clark,
Yeah.
former Leaf great. The week before that we had Ron Ellis, who was who was a member of the last Leafs team to win a Stanley Cup. So he's been around a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say.
But a great guy. Ron is just an amazing guy. And this week we've got former Raptor Tracy Murray and Drew Ebanks from the Barn Burner Network, the host of On Point Basketball. So it's a good show, a lot of fun. We're Thursday live at 1:00, and we're live on Facebook, and we're also on Barn Burner. So don't miss it. Be there.
We won't miss it.
Or be square.
We'll be there. We'll be there. Was it more fun than this show, though? I got to ask you, is it more fun than this show?
Nothing's more fun than this show. This is cool.
Yeah.
This is
Pretty high bar.
you know that this is where my heart is. You know that. No, it's pretty
Yeah, right
hard
on,
to
right
beat this. It'd be hard to beat talking boxing with a bunch of former pugs like myself. It's awesome. Yeah.
Oh,
Some
very
great
good,
ones
very
too.
good.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So, guys, we'll move on to our first topic here. Anthony Joshua has fought last night. Of course, he was fighting to retain the WBA, WO, IBF heavyweight title against Mr. Pulev. What do you guys think of the fight last night? I'm going to go around the panel, go around the table here. I'm going to ask Mr. Bulldog first. Why not? Bring it on.
I've been watching the fights pretty religiously, except for last night. I did not see that fight, but I did catch a highlight.
No problem.
I caught a highlight, and it seems like he landed that right hand really nice at the end. But it was you have different kinds of fighters. You have fighters that people care about, and fighters that they really don't that much. And I don't know, they're not the biggest. I don't think Joshua's the biggest draw, but he does really well. He does really well up in I guess it's Britain. So, he just I don't know. I'd like to see him. I'm still looking forward to seeing Tyson Fury fight again, and I would like to see that matchup.
Yeah, agreed. I thought his uppercut looked great last night in the fight. Is just landing on a point every time he threw the right uppercut.
Yeah, that was good.
Right on the money every time he threw it. Missed a lot of other shots, but his uppercuts on the right side was nice. How about you, Big Ray? What was your take about last night's fight?
I enjoyed it. I was when I was offered a fight Pulev, I think it was 2014.
Oh yeah.
And prior to that, I was always like, wow, he has beautiful footwork. My thing is that ever since I got into the sport, that's all I wanted someone to teach me was footwork and defense, which I couldn't find. And in watching that, I was just like, I think this is the first time he was actually exposed, because his footwork, it's almost as if he didn't know how to use it. He was a shorter man going up against a Goliath, but mind you, the Goliath would only throw if he took a step back, his footwork wasn't great.
Yeah.
He'd take a step back and he'd be stuck on that back foot, as opposed to actually being able to take 2, 3 multiple steps. There was one time he spun off his foot, and I thought, okay, well, he may have some competence, but for the most part, Pulev would lunge into into Joshua, and then it turned into a hugging match. He threw one jab as opposed to multiple jabs, trying to get in on a bigger man. I was just like, what the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, right on. Agreed.
I tip my hat to Joshua. I thought he fought a smart fight. He's not known, he'll throw big punch combinations, but then he'll just go back to his lackadaisical one jab. So I was like, all right. I thought he impressed me more. I'm not in the heavyweights. I personally believe that Joshua's the best out there. Of the three, Deontay, Joshua, Fury, I think Joshua has the best combination of skill set to be successful against everybody. He has the power, he has decent speed, decent athleticism. I don't think his boxing IQ is that great. Whereas Fury he has an exceptional boxing IQ. I just think he's just fragile. And well, Deontay just has a right hand. So I thought that it showed. He showed me a little bit more of his boxing IQ, and I tip my hat to him. I think he's a little better than I thought. I look forward to the Fury contest. Much like Scotty, or much like the world for that matter. Right. Yeah. It was impressive. It was a little disheartening because I used to really think highly of Pulev. I thought that he was I thought he walked on water. His loss to Vladimir was he lost to Vladimir. What? 60 some odd people lost to Vladimir. There's no shame in it. But this one I was just like, maybe he wasn't as great, as bright. So yeah, highly critical. I know, but yeah.
No, it's all good. No, that's why I ask you. Yeah, asking the question. I want to hear your insights on that. It's all good. How about you, Mike? What are your thoughts on the fight last night?
Well, you know what? I watched it. I was expecting a little bit of a better fight, and thinking Pulev would bring it to him a bit. But in the first few rounds, it was just like a fencing contest, right?
Yeah.
To fight a guy like Joshua, you got to fight like Andy Ruiz did. You go in, you fight dirty, you got to get under there, make him look awkward, and he wasn't doing that. You're not going to outbox Joshua, and eventually you're gonna get knocked out if you're going to fight like that. And he wasn't even. In the end, didn't even look like he was trying. He didn't have no defense against getting hit uppercuts like 3 in a row. It was ridiculous. You know what I mean? So it was a safe fight for Joshua, I thought, and a good win on paper, anyways. Looking at it, it wasn't a great boxing match, but like everyone else, I want to see a big match against Tyson Fury. I think it'll be great. I think Tyson is going to take it to him too. He doesn't care. He's a gypsy, man. That guy just comes to fight. He fights his brothers, his cousins, his whatever, right? His mother, and he's going to go in and make it a dog fight. And that's how you got to beat a guy like Joshua.
Yeah. Watch those Irish gypsies, man. They're tough.
But the only thing is, I think what do you think is going to happen when Joshua's strength, because Joshua is visibly stronger than Fury.
Yeah, so is Wilder.
Doesn't have the best chin.
So is Wilder. Wilder was stronger
Wilder
too.
only has a big right hand at the extension.
Wilder is strong. Wilder's big like Joshua. And Fury picked him apart. He'll do the same thing with Joshua.
Wilder was a 212-pound 6'7". I'm 6'7". I'm nowhere remotely close to 212 pounds. I've been saying this since Jump Street. Anybody who fights Wilder, I don't care if it's Dominic who fights Wilder. Throw him in the corner and maul him. And that's exactly what happened. It was
he boxed him, man. He picked him apart. He boxed him.
He mauled him, and that's exactly what he should have done. But I don't know. I don't think that strategy is necessarily going to be as fruitful against.
Well, I tell you what, I don't think there's a heavyweight with faster hands than Tyson Fury. Put it that way. And I think that he'll box his ears off. I believe he will.
I think I agree with you with the hand speed. I don't, but. Joshua has enough power. But he's also got a suspect chin. I mean, look at what Ruiz did to him. I think that I wouldn't. I think suspect chin in comparison to Tyson. Well, Tyson Fury's never been beaten. He's been knocked out. But everybody who has ever fought Deontay Wilder has been knocked out. Everybody who's ever fought Deontay Wilder has been knocked down. The only guy who got back up is Fury. He didn't knock down Bermain until the second fight. Right. Okay. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's not. He's all of his wins have come by way of TKO or knockout. Yeah. No, I get that. But with that being said, I think that also Fury's been dropped by Nevin Pikic, Steve Cunningham, who was barely a heavyweight. Like these guys aren't like Nevin's a decent power puncher. It's been alluded to before too, and is that Tyson Fury? A lot of it. I think Mike was just talking about it too. He's fragile. Like his personality. You got to have the right Tyson Fury in the ring, right? He's got to be there mentally, emotionally, everything else. He's got to be there. He's got to be on his game. All those things. Because I remember he's been over 400 pounds before. He's been up and down like a yo-yo in terms of weight.
He's been emotionally a basket case. He's been a lot of things, but when he's on his game, when he fought Wilder both times, he was on his game. And you know what? Say what you want about Wilder, man. The guy can punch, and it's more than just the right hand.
And the thing is, Joe, Tyson Fury changed his strategy from the first fight. Where he was kind of backing off a bit, and then you know what? I'm sure his dad. He said, you can take this guy right away. Just get on him. He starts gassing after a few rounds. He gets sloppy. He's a big, muscular guy, so it's tough for him to go to late rounds with Wilder, right? And it's going to be interesting between Fury and Joshua, because it depends on who's going to take the first step to go after who, right? If Tyson does that, it could be different, because it's going to be a boxing game and a chess match, and I don't know how Joshua is good coming forward that much, where he could make his footwork look a little bit ridiculous, get him off, and then Tyson can tag him. So I think it depends on the first couple rounds what strategy Tyson Fury and what focus he comes in on, like you're saying, Joe, whether he's going to be focused and take it to him in a brawl or is he going to sit back and try to box him and let Joshua come towards him?
Yeah. Right
I mean, it's going to be a good fight regardless. It's going to be a great fight. I mean, that's one I'm really looking forward to. I mean, the heavyweights are back, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's slow comeback, I think. Yeah, slow comeback. Dominic, what's your thoughts on that?
I like Tyson Fury, and you can never ever count him out. I mean, he's always showed up, and he can always push. I didn't see the Anthony Joshua fight last night. I was on YouTube watching Scotty Olsen fights, but I did see the highlight, and it's going to be a great fight, and there's going to be a lot of hype. I see Top Rank's already hyping it up on social media and stuff already, that they're going to be trying to do some talks. So I'm really excited for it. And the guys are right. If the right Tyson Fury shows up, it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, agreed. And Steve, what are your thoughts, sir?
What do I think on the fight last night or the upcoming fight?
Well, a little bit of both.
The fight last night, it's interesting because you see how, I hate to say it, but A side, B side, the game is, and not in the sense that I don't think that AJ did his thing, but the whole thing is built up for AJ to beat Pulev so that he goes and fights Tyson Fury. So it all went according to plan.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, he did have to get past him, and Pulev put on a good fight, but he's a little bit past his prime now. Maybe, I don't know, but AJ is just on a roll right now. So it makes it very interesting. But as far as AJ versus Tyson Fury, I think he's in deep, because I don't think AJ's boxing intelligence can keep up with Fury's boxing creativity.
Yeah.
So like that trifecta right there, it becomes very interesting, because Deontay Wilder's got the game changer, right? The fight changing power.
Correct.
But I think that Fury, on a good night, Fury beats them both. I think that Wilder takes out AJ, and I think that AJ actually has a chance against Fury. I think the way that things all mix up, that's what I would guess.
Very interesting.
I think you might be right.
Very interesting point of view there.
You think AJ gets taken out by Wilder?
Yeah, possible.
I think that
anything's possible, but he only has a right hand. Stay away from his right hand.
But what does AJ box? How does he box? He boxes.
AJ also
by the book.
has crazy power. He's a gorilla to look at. Don't forget his first 20 fights, he had 20 knockouts. He has crazy power, but he has power in both hands, and he actually fights. Deontay has that big right hand, and he loved it way too much. That was his downfall. I'm interested to see the fight between Wilder and Fury 3. Not that I think that Fury's going to lose. I'm just interested to see exactly what Wilder's going to do.
I was going to say, what happens to Wilder now? What does he come back with? Does he come back with fire? Or does he come back with excuses? Because that's what I've seen lately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I think he's going to go back to school and learn how to box. At the very least, learn how to spell boxing.
Well, I guess he'll wear an outfit that is less stressful to wear, apparently, because that's
there you go.
Him and his trainer blamed it. Yeah.
You can't you can't have these excuses, right? You can't
Yeah.
have these
Right.
excuses.
Especially this level. Totally agree. It's not
To me,
that-
that's the best point. Like where Deontay's head is at has a lot to do with what he is at all anymore. You know, he took no ownership of the loss. He lost
No.
badly. He hasn't handled it well. So that's definitely that. I know, you know, from a fan perspective, what we're wondering if Deontay's even going to fight again. He's like 36 years
Right.
old. And if he does, you know, the genie's kind of now out of the bottle in terms of how you go after him. You know, we may have seen the last of him at the top.
At the top, yeah, but I don't think it's the last we'll ever see of him. His ego's way too big. He's
But
not.
look
gonna,
at the
he's gonna
heavyweight
go,
division. Yeah.
He's gonna.
Look at
he's
the
gonna come
heavyweight
back.
division, right? Look at
What's that?
Povetkin's 41. Povetkin's 41. Like these guys, some of these guys are getting up there a little bit, right? Like, look at you, Ray. Why are you fighting these guys?
That's right, Ray. Why aren't you that?
I want to beat them
You're
all
only
up.
50.
He's only 50. Come on. He's only 50.
Yeah, these guys are spring chickens.
That's right.
Don't cut me out.
Let's get Ray in the mix there. Right on. Right on.
Hell yeah.
How about you, Prince? Mr. Lucas, what's your thoughts on last night's fight?
I thought AJ had a great performance. I thought he found his distance. He was throwing a beautiful jab, and obviously found a home for the right uppercut, which eventually set up that straight right hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he looked great. Now, I don't think he stands a chance against Fury. I think Fury's just a way better athlete. I think,
Really?
I think the only way AJ could land his shots, obviously, is if he sets his feet right, and Fury already knows that, and he's not going to let Joshua set his feet. And I also think that Wilder will beat Joshua. I think Wilder, just with those wild shots, swinging wide and hitting in the back of the head. I mean, they're obviously illegal punches, but the refs don't call them.
That's how Ruiz beat him, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, good point.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know what else? You know what else I think? When you're more technically sound, you're more susceptible to the wild stuff. You know what I mean? So I think Wilder with all that crazy stuff, I think he's done the perfect thing to catch AJ. That's why. I think that's part of the reason.
Yeah. And when Josh was on his defense, sometimes he backs up and stands up tall.
Right.
And that's a very dangerous move against a guy like Wilder with his long arms.
You're teed up for the right hand.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, well done, boys. It's pretty good.
I want to be on this panel when AJ beats up Fury. Okay. I'm gonna be the first one to say I told you so.
Wow. Honestly, you will be the only one to tell us that. And we promise we won't say we told you so.
Yeah, right.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, Scotty will.
Yeah. I might have to agree with Ray because Raymond's only 19 inches taller than me.
Only 19.
19 inches. Can you believe that? That's crazy. Yeah.
Because like Ray said earlier, if we had to get Scotty against one of these big guys, I might be in Scotty all day long.
I'm telling you, against Deontay Wilder, just break his body. He's not that big a man.
Or his ankles, anyways.
Like physically.
I think Wilder is going to have a little problem with his confidence. I think he suffered a bit of loss.
And to tell you the truth, does Wilder deserve a title shot?
No.
I don't think so right now.
I don't think
He's a guy
contractual.
He's the guy that should be fighting a Ruiz or something like that to build his confidence back up anyways, right? And
it's contractual, man. It
is contractual, but they can also he'll also take a payday to get out of the fight too. I mean, they can. That's been done before too, where they pay a guy to set aside so they can have step aside so they can have the big fight, and then he with the provision that he gets another shot down the road. But I don't think he deserves it. I mean, the fact that he is contractually obligated, yes, but the first fight, I mean, sure they called it a draw, but Fury beat him, no question about it, no question. How many rounds did he win?
Yep.
How many rounds? You thought Wilder won 9 rounds?
I thought Fury won 9 rounds.
He won 9, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Fury won the fight, no question about it.
Mathematically,
they absolutely robbed him. and then the second fight he destroyed him. So I mean, why would Wilder get another shot at this? He shouldn't. He doesn't deserve it. And I know,
Fury,
but as
Fury
say,
got up in the last round like the Undertaker. It was amazing.
Right.
He took such a hard shot. That impressed me so much from the get up from that.
That was the best get up I've ever seen. The best get up the canvas I've ever seen. Maybe Buster Douglas was pretty good, right, from Tyson. But this Fury get off the canvas was the best I've seen. No doubt about it. I agree.
It was impressive. Very impressive.
Lucas, I want to know how your hand is. Lucas just came off a huge win in Mexico, big knockout, but he broke his one hand was sore, so he had to concentrate on the other one, and he ended up breaking that one in the
tell us about
the fight in the first round.
Yeah, tell us about it, Lucas. It's a great point there, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously went in there with a really badly injured right hand, and I was planning on just using my left and knocking him out with the left hand. And didn't go as planned. After the end of the first round, I hit him on like the top of the head and kind of messed up my hand really bad. Broke it, like completely broke it. Now I got to go for surgery tomorrow on it. But it was just one of those fights where you got a plan and something dramatically changes and you have to adjust. And right then and there, I knew as soon as I hit him with that shot, I knew something was wrong. It was bad. And I knew I had to throw my right hand. And I started using my right hand, but every time I was throwing either punch, I was in crazy pain, right? So it was a tough fight. I mean, I had to make a lot of adjustments, and this kid was just taking a lot of big shots. I mean, how much power was I really putting into him? It's hard to tell because I'm in pain with every punch, but I felt like I was throwing everything at the kid. You know, I made adjustments where I was like, okay, I'm not getting them with the headshots. I got to go down to the body. And I was trying to rip body shots in between his punches, trying to set up the left hook to the body, but I wasn't able to land it good enough to hurt him.
Do you remember the punch you remember the punch that you did that in the first round? Did it hit him because I think I asked you before, did you hit him at the top of the head? Is that what? Because that's a lot of times when you hit him on the chin, it's not such a problem.
Yeah, I hit him kind of exactly
of the body. That's your hands take a beating.
Yeah, I kind of hit him in the. Drop my earphone here. Sorry, guys.
No problem.
With one hand.
You're working with no hands, so we understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
a boxer with no hands, that's tough.
That's really tough.
It was.
That's talent.
It was a pretty crazy experience. I mean, being in there with both hands injured, and this guy was just building momentum like crazy, and he was digging me to the body and hitting me everywhere, and the ring was just terrible. I couldn't. Every time I'm stepping in a hole. Like it was the worst ring I fought in by far.
Welcome to fighting down in Mexico, taking quick fights. I mean, that's what you're going to get, right? It's just an experience, but it's bad when you got adrenaline and you can still feel the pain.
Exactly.
Right.
100%. It was crazy. Oh my gosh.
And you went down there with no team, no coach.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
So when did you get the phone call, Lucas?
Oh, I knew about the fight for 5 weeks before it.
Oh, okay.
But I knew nobody was coming with me. Like nobody could afford to. Exactly. Nobody could afford to come back in quarantine for 2 weeks. Right. Steve Bailey's working full time. My dad. I told my dad, there's no point in coming. He doesn't know nothing about boxing anyway. So, so he's not going to be any help in the corner to me. But I mean, thank God, Stefan LaRoche ended up being there. I put him to work in the corner. I mean, both my eyes were swelling up. Like it was looking real ugly.
So he was your cut man too? Yeah.
Yeah. He was the cut man, everything. He wrapped my hands. So thank God he was there.
How did the fight end?
So the first round, I won the first round. Second round was pretty close. I won the first half. He probably won the second. And then third round, he was building major momentum. I'll give him the third round for sure. And then right at the beginning of the fourth round, I just caught him really nicely. He was getting really confident, so he was swinging big shots, and he got caught. I caught him with a nice left hook counter, and he went down, got up, stumbled a little bit, and then I just pummeled him once the the fight continued, and it got stopped by the ref right away. But
well, that's
it was
awesome.
it was a big relief when the ref waved it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So you knocked him out with a broken left hand.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's incrable.
That's tough.
That's
how much pain were you in when that happened?
Oh, incredible! Like it was insane. It was the first thing I said right after I knocked him out. I did a little celebration. You know, I was all excited, and then I said to the camera, I said, "That's with 2 broken hands." I knew it was broken right away. I knew it was broken, and then when I took obviously my wraps off, it was like a balloon. And as soon as I landed in Toronto the next day, I went right to the emergency and got X-rays. And
you didn't get medical help there?
You know what? I went to the doctor after the fight. He spoke perfect English, and I said, "Can you take a look at my hand?" And he goes, "Sure, no problem." And he goes, "Can you move your fingers?" And I'm like, wiggling my fingers right like this, and he goes, "Okay, good. It's not broken." I'm like, "Of course it's broken. Look at this thing. This thing's a balloon."
Okay. Good thing you didn't get it where it looked after there, right?
Yeah. But it was
Lucas,
broken right in half.
I was looking at some of your old fights. I saw your pro debut, and what an amazing right hand you got too, my friend. Holy crap!
Yeah, I mean, my right hand's obviously my money shot, but I've been putting a lot of work into the left now.
Yeah, that's good. Nice to be able to drop a guy with both hands. That's good.
Yeah, we were actually talking after the fight, Joe, and I talked to Stefan after too, and I said, you know what? Sometimes you get guys who can really, really punch hard, and you really have to watch where you punch them, because you know you punch that hard and you hit someone on the top of the head. You know, your career could be cut really, really short. You know, having operations or layoffs for 6 months to a year because of your hands. I've seen a lot of fighters have that problem. So, you know, I think it's, you know, Lucas is such a powerhouse. Yeah. And, you know, he has, you know, 9 fights by knockout, every knockout in the first round. It's almost gets obsessive that you almost feels like a failure if you don't knock the guy out in the first round. You know, this guy went in 4 rounds, but sometimes you may have to just say, you know what, this guy's going to weather the storm. So maybe I just have to box and just win a decision once in a while. But I can see how it can get in your head when you're getting such a role like that. And, you know, I think Lucas is going to be in the, you know, he'll be in the top 10 and probably within the next year or so once he hopefully gets up to that 15-0 mark. But you know, there's guys that doesn't matter how hard you hit them, they're not going to get knocked out because their hands are always up, they're protective. So sometimes you just have to rethink strategy, and he did that after the first round.
Yeah. No, right on.
Well, smart thinking going to the body, Lucas. That was good. That's good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, very good. How about you, Steve? How's because you had a big fight this last few weeks ago. How'd it go for you?
It was good. I mean, we have to fight all Canadians right now because nobody's like, well, if you're fighting in Canada right now, that's kind of protocol. So we're fighting in the tournament. The 4 Aces tournament. It's myself, Yves, Matthew Germain, and David Tureau. So I fought David Tureau, and Yves fought Matthew, and we all fought on the same card. And it was good. It all went according to plan, and I think that's what happens when you got a 10-month training camp like I was in, because I knew I was going to be fighting eventually, so I just kept going, kept training. And then the fight went very well. I know that he's hungry because he's the underdog in the tournament, so I knew he's going to come out strong. It was weird because I didn't have a whole nobody's in the same dressing room, right? We're all quarantined and separate. So I didn't know when the other guys were going, and all of a sudden they came in, they tell me I have to go, it's time to fight. And I was like, well, I'm wrapping up my second hand. I haven't warmed up at all. But this is kind of, you know, it's kind of duly noted for next time. Let's say that.
Yeah. So, kind of like the old amateur days.
Yeah. You know what?
You're up, kid.
Yeah.
My mindset going in was almost along those lines. So I was like, you know what? I'm ready to just go fight, whatever. I think that's a very strong ability to have as a fighter, the ability to adapt.
Yeah.
And when things change, right? When things change, oh, you got to go. Actually, you're up next. Oh, and you thought you had an hour, but now you have 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So can you get ready quick? Or oh, you're actually, you've been bumped back. This fight's gone 10 rounds. So now you got an hour. You thought you were up in 20 minutes. So
Wonder if he knew you didn't have much of a warm up, because as soon as the bell rang, he ran at you.
yeah, you saw it, okay? You're right.
Yeah.
You saw it. Yeah, I was thinking that too, because when I got in the ring, I looked at him and I know he's got a sweat going, right? And I was like, okay. And my corner guys, are inexperienced at this point. Okay, so we're building right now, and I'm like, who's got grease? And then they're like, I'm like, oh no! But Sam,
There's
Sam
Shoppers Drug Mart just down the street. I'll be right back.
Sam DeCarey is in the other corner. He's the cut man for H.E.R because there's only a couple people allowed in the building. So he's from Eye of the Tiger. I'm like, Sam, I'm like, give me some grease, like across the corner. And it was this whole scramble. And I mean, that's probably because of the whole quarantine thing. We got to sit in our rooms the whole time. We got to isolate. You have to like contact and communicate by phone. Like, you know, it's a weird time, but the ability to adapt. And that was something that I had. My mentality going into the fight was I can adapt to it. And then I needed to adapt because that kind of stuff happened. But I mean, he ran at me. And he got the fight started immediately, because once he starts fighting, and once we start fighting and he brings this energy, I'm in. It kind of jump starts me. I'm warmed up now already. But yeah, just like Lucas said, I don't know. He might have saw me. He might have saw that I was cold because he came running at me. That's a good strategy too, because I would do the same thing, right? Like if the guy, if he looks like it, jump on him.
Oh, right on. Well put once again.
Steve.
Yep.
What is this tournament about? Like, do you win the Canadian title shot or North American title shot, or?
Okay,
what?
so there's a bunch of things. It's all unfolding as it takes place. But with the last fight, I won the WBC Francophone title. So they put that title up on the end, and it just came up. Like it was supposed to be for the NABA, and then all of a sudden it was for this one, and then Jermaine and Yves fought for a separate title. I think it was the WBA gold. I'm not sure. I'm not actually, no, it wouldn't be, because he lost that one to Barroso. I'm not sure, but they fought for a title. But the idea is we all fight each other in a round robin idea. There's a point system, and then the two with the most points at the end of the round robin fight each other in the finals. The winner of the finals gets a $50,000 bonus, and whichever titles the final fight ends up being for. So it's a very motivating layout that we have. That's for sure.
So you're going to fight somebody twice.
Yeah.
Do you know who your next fight is?
I don't know. That's what it's so crazy, because the tournament now, Yves is having I saw an article come out the other day, and he's got a neurological problem, an issue with his brain, which is like, you guys know as well as I do, like boxing's life, but life is bigger than boxing, right? You don't want anybody to be hurt. You don't want anything permanent. So he's got to sort that out, but I don't know if that takes him out of the tournament. And then Jermaine hurt his Achilles in a fight against Yves, so he's injured too.
Wow.
So now I don't know where it all stands, because I just fought Thoreau. I just stopped him in the 6th. He didn't come out for the 7th, so I don't know if they want a rematch. I doubt it.
Well, you should get the $50,000 bonus then. You're just automatic.
I mean, I've never taken it.
I'm all about that. Put my vote in for you, Steve.
I've never say no to a good thing, right?
That's it.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see what happens. But honestly, I'm just gonna train, just keep getting better, keep working, keep stay in the gym. I have a feeling that I'm gonna fight Yves again, so long as, you know, hopefully, and all praises to him. All God willing, he's you know, heals up and recovers, because you don't want that. And then we do need to have our trilogy at the end of it all. I want to be okay, and I want to have a trilogy, and then I want to fight Matthew as well. So, I mean, I really want it. I was excited for this tournament. Now I don't know what happens, but I'll be ready for the next fight regardless of when it is. I hope it's going to be in February, though. I'll tell you that much. But maybe I should do what Lucas is doing and go down south and get some fights. Stay active, man. That's a great idea.
It's always good to stay active.
Yeah.
Yeah, staying sharp.
And a lot of the times it costs the team money. Then, you know, you're going down there expecting to win to build up your record, but meanwhile it's costing you money at the same time. You're not even, you know, getting a paycheck. At the end of the day, you're just trying to do anything to build up your record And when everything gets back to the new normal, you'll be able to get in line with hopefully some kind of world title shot or something in the top 10 and get you there anyways.
Absolutely. And you know what? I've known many guys who do, like, there's a lot of boxing in Mexico. And I've known a lot of guys who've gone south, paid their way to get a couple fights, build up a bit of a start of a professional record. Then they come back up here 5-0. And then, now they're looking good. Now they're appealing to promoters in the States, promoters in Canada, because they have a record. So it's part of the business as well. But then at the same time, you got to be careful because some of those guys can fight. And I mean, it's just it's a very interesting game all around, I guess.
Yeah, you saw. I don't know if you saw the fight last week with Josh O'Reilly. He built up with a nice record, and then they bring him over to Britain to fight their top guy there, and the winner was going to fight for world title shot. We were expecting big things out of O'Reilly, and
that's right.
God, the guy just came out and I think on the back of the head and just caught him, and it was over before it started.
Right. I didn't even get to watch that one, but Josh O'Reilly's a friend of mine. So it's one of those things, whenever you're fighting on the B side, you're up against you're against it's almost like the Mayweather formula. Remember how Mayweather would do this? Now you got to fight him on Floyd's level. You got to fight him on his zone, his thing. And that's kind of the way of the game. If your promoter's putting on the show, your A side, guess what? You know about the fight well in advance. You know about all the details well in advance. And it's just the way that it is. So in my earlier career, I was all the time B side. And I have a lot of experience going against the grain and going against the guys. And one of the strongest abilities that I found was the ability to adapt. You know what? This happens, but I don't have to worry about that. Or this happen. They're trying to get me to do this, but I just have to do what's in the contract because I don't have to listen to that. And the ability to stick to your guns and adapt on the fly. If you can keep your mind ready, that's how you can handle being an opponent. But it's not an easy job, that's for sure.
And a good example of that, Steve, would have been, and I remember Brandon Cook going into Montreal and fighting Butler. And, Brandon Cook was expected to be the B opponent. Going to be a good fight, but they expected Butler and Brandon, he's a good fighter, trains his ass off. You know what I mean? He's so he goes in, he's done Ironman. So nothing was stopping this guy. And that was one of those things where everything was against him, but came out the victor and was really prepared.
Right. Took an ice bucket in the head.
Yeah.
Somebody for some ringside, we know they're serving beers in the ice bucket.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody threw an ice bucket, hit Brandon in the back of the head. They weren't very happy in Montreal when Brandon won that fight. Butler was a handpicked. Brandon was a handpicked opponent for Butler, who was undefeated 100%. At that time. Yeah, right. So they didn't like it. It didn't go well.
Sometimes you can refuse to lose, as they say. So if you just go now. I like Butler because he's the guy that I deal with as well, and so I'm not saying anything bad about him. But if Brandon went there and he just refused to lose, and he got determination is hard to beat. I'll tell you that much. Determination is hard to beat.
Yeah, well put. That's right. Stand your ground, folks, and you gotta adapt. That's the name of the game right there. And hey, guys, we're actually out of time already. This was a fast show.
Wow. It was rocking.
It felt like 5 minutes and then boom, it's over. Wow, that's quick.
So I just want to ask Steve one more question. Steve, I remember I was trying to watch that show, that fight, and there was a streaming thing going on. I couldn't get on. And anyway, how did it end? Tell us about the ending of that fight.
I stopped him in the sixth. Well, so the sixth round, we went back to the corners, and he did not come out for the seventh. I was just overwhelming him. I started to get to him in about the fourth, and I started to mount up the body attack, and I was breaking him down with the jab. And then the fifth and sixth, I really started to put it on him. And then the last minute of the sixth round, I just had him in the corner, and I was kind of letting my hands go. And then the bell went, then he went back to the corner, and they just said no more. So that was it. Corner retired.
Maybe it was an advantage. Maybe he warmed up too much, and you were.
I was still going.
No, you're going. You're perfect. That's awesome.
Hey man, I'm warm now. That's great.
It was getting worse for him as the fight was continuing. Every round it was getting worse and worse. When you heard him a couple times, and I think the fifth or sixth round, you were hurting him, and then he wasn't throwing back at the end of the sixth.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be there.
No, and then they just throw in the towel and then corner retirement. And you know what? I think that's the first one that I ever got, like a no mas. I think that's the first one I ever got.
Yeah, nice,
So,
nice.
so that's
Great
kinda cool.
performance, Steve. Great performance.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, champ.
Congrats to both you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, right on.
Both Lucas and
Good stuff, guys.
Steve Leggett. Well done, boys. You're making us proud, eh? Make us really proud over here. Keep it up.
Hi, buddy.
Keep it
Yes,
up.
sir.
So, guys, we're out of time now. Like I said, this show just flew by. It's like I feel like 5 minutes. I swear to God. And then I'm looking at the clock. It's like, oh my God, really? Anyway. So, guys, thanks for coming on the show. We'll get guys back to the show again real soon. So, thanks to Mr. Scotty Bulldog Olson, Mr. Mark Cool Dude Duda for coming on the show. Big
Thank you.
over there, and of course, Mike Strange, thanks for being on the show as well. And very envious of you being in San Francisco like that. Very cool. Love you. And Dominic, always a pleasure.
Nothing going on here either. We're just sitting and waiting.
Well, I'm still envious regardless. And Steve, the Dragon Claggett, thanks for coming on the show as well. Sharing
Thanks
with
for having me.
Your last big fight. And of course, Lucas with his big win with a broken hand. Pretty amazing stuff. Tough dudes on the show. And of course, Mr. Joe Tilley, of course, as well. Always a pleasure having you guys on the show. So the Knockout Show can also be heard on the Barnburner Radio Network on almost 122 platforms. Please check out barnburner.ca for all the news. Barnburner, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you guys real soon. Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Bill.
you, guys.
Good to see you guys.
Great
you
seeing
later.
you.
Later.
See you, Scotty.
Bye-bye.
guys.
See you. Nice seeing you, all of you. Thank you.
Oh, definitely a pleasure. Right on. Thank you.
Awesome.